I'm going to say 5 things, I hope in 5 minutes, and you can time me and give me the warning if I'm going over the 5 minutes. I mean it. Vikram, you can look at me and give me the sign. Firstly, UK and India, it's a long, complicated, not always happy history. And I think our job is to write a new bit of history. That is what I am here to do. That is what I was told to do when I came here by our Prime Minister. And the FTA is part of that. Now, I think the UK and India, it is, as they say, an auspicious moment for several reasons. Partly because the world is getting more contested and trusted allies, I think the Joint Secretary used that word, trusted friends is going to be very important. Secondly, because the UK having left the European Union, as the Chairman was saying, I think there is an opportunity for us to write our own rules, which I think can really work well with India. Thirdly, because there is political will. And if you have political will, you can do a lot. And there was there between Prime Minister Modi ji and Boris Johnson, and I think it's going to be there with Prime Minister Liz Truss. The two Prime Ministers spoke just over a week ago and had a very good conversation. It's clear the shared will remains despite the change in personnel. So I think it is an auspicious moment. Secondly, we need to get closer together economically for the reasons I've given, including this sort of contested, competitive world we are now in. Also, we don't trade enough with each other. For two economies of roughly the same size, India will grow fast, overtaking the UK, and it will get up to be probably third largest economy in the world, I should think, by the end of the decade. We both need to grow. The Prime Minister Modi ji has set a very ambitious target for India. I was there at the Red Fort on the 15th of August. Developed nation by 2047. Hugely ambitious, requires fast growth. The UK needs to grow much more. We've had a decade of lowish growth in the UK, and we need to get back onto a path of faster growth. And to do that, you need to trade and invest more with each other. And we're trying to do that at the same time the world is getting more contested and competitive, as we saw from Russia's extraordinary and outrageous invasion of Ukraine. So we need to grow both countries. So the need is there, I think. How do you do that? You do that in a lot of different ways, but one of them is by having a free trade agreement. It's one of the ways which you accelerate growth in each other's countries and employment, which I think is very important, particularly in India as you produce 8 million graduates per year, I think, something like that. It's an enormous number. And FTAs, they're not the end of everything, but they are a way which you can try and achieve that. And so we have the aim to finish the FTA by Diwali. I have this sort of strange idea that there'll be some sort of Diwali party at the end of it, which will involve firecrackers, and as I understand it, quite a lot of consumption of whiskey in some parts, and indeed some gambling, I am told, as part of a good Diwali party. I don't necessarily espouse this, but one can imagine a rather exciting Diwali party in number 10 Downing Street at this point, perhaps without the whiskey, although that might be part of the negotiations. Anyway, so I think the will is there, and we need to do this. Why with the UK? I think you've heard from previous speakers about the opportunities which are there, whether legal services and preventive health care, in air transport and so forth. So I'm going to give you a few reasons. Number one, we are a very open country. I suggest we are one of, if not the most open, large economy in the world. And you can see that in lots of different ways. Secondly, we're big. We're not quite India big, but we're 5th, 6th largest economy in the world. Of itself, it is an important destination. Thirdly, the UK brings excellence. If you look at the best thing the UK and India have done together in the last 2 years, it was to combine the academic and research excellence of the UK, supported by a bit of British taxpayer money, with the manufacturing might and reach of India to create the Covishield vaccine. A fantastic, the benefit that has given to people in this country and my country and all over the world is immense. Fourthly, we're comfortable with each other. There's a degree of comfort, I think, and understanding, which I think we can grow over the next decade. And finally, the UK is international. It's very international. You saw the collection of, I think, 70 heads of state, almost every country in the world with significant representation at yesterday's funeral of Her Majesty the Queen. The UK remains a congregator of international, of all over the world. So, finally, I need your help. There are so many reasons not to do a deal when you get to the end. But I think you have to look 10 years hence, and you have to see what India will be in 10 years' time, the ambition for India in 10 years' time, and how the UK can play a role in helping India with its ambition. And I need your voice, because there were plenty of people saying, oh, we're not sure, we're not sure. This is the moment. Now is the time to make the ambitious leap to having a deeper, different kind of economic relationship. Because I think that in doing that, we can write, let's be honest, the history of the economics and the commerce of the UK and India is a very uncomfortable one. It's a colonial relationship. Now, the 75 years after independence, is the time to write the new bit of history. I think you were saying, as partners, as joint partners looking to the future, I think that's a very exciting vision. We're here to help. Vikram here. We are here to help you to get into the UK, to be able to grow in the UK and deliver for your owners in the UK. And finally, I propose as the final bit of the deal, we'd like Jasprit Bumrah as the final thing to seal the deal.
नमस्कार, मैं हूं मानक गुप्ता। अगर आपको हमारा ये वीडियो पसंद आया हो तो इसे लाइक और शेयर जरूर करें, और हां, हमें सब्सक्राइब और फॉलो करना ना भूलें ताकि आप देश और दुनिया की कोई खबर मिस ना करें। तो जुड़े रहिए हमारे साथ और देखते रहिए News24।